Welcome back, everybody, to Open Qualifiers for VALORANT Challengers North America. This is, of course, the first Open Qualifiers. My name is Marks. This is still Keg, and we've got Winthrop University against Thinking Men, and I still hope it is. Otherwise, I gotta change a bunch of notes.
Oh, well, I mean, look, the first map went really well for Winthrop. They made a big change from yesterday. The confidence was back. Gunplay first, utility second. Most of the time, I'm always wary about when teams do that, but they are performing it great. Now, we have seen Breeze yesterday. We saw Split yesterday, too, and that's the third map in this series. But they got to get through Lotus, and that's a little bit more of uncharted waters.
Yeah, it really is, but I mean, just taking a look back onto that first map that Winthrop University took us to, you know, you identified some of the weaknesses that we were kind of expecting to see on this squad, but I'm going to be honest with you, Keg, they looked really darn good on Breeze.
They looked really good, and I think a lot of that before was just a macro level confidence issue going into the last series from yesterday, where this time around, they felt good, they felt comfortable, they were taking gunfights, they were doing so much, and it was so necessary to play fire versus fire. But remember, there was a time when Thinking Men were starting to string rounds back on their attack. The reason was because they played slow in the beginning. That is the kryptonite of Winthrop so many different times that we've seen in series. So if I'm Thinking Men, I'm playing this next map slowly and really taking advantage of the rotates at 3 different sites that Lotus has in order to make sure, okay, I can whittle away this defense and make sure they keep falling for these baited fake plays.
And it was honestly so crazy because, I mean, right off the bat, you see Paint get that first ace, and then the rest of the squad from Winthrop University kind of really just come together, and it was such a kind of back and forth, but many multi-kills. I feel like that last map, we just saw multi-kills every single round again.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of heroics from individual players each time. One in particular outside the aces that I really remember was Lear's. Lear was so good about isolating 1v1s inside of halls, and it's the newest returning part of Breeze. People are going to lurk through that, and Lear being just this stakehold inside of mid, using his owl drones, full extent of utility, still watching the back lines of halls in the process, single-handedly secured one of those rounds. But now is the time to bring it back. Everything has to double up even more. 1 site, 2 sites, now 3 sites to deal with.
Yeah, and actually too, I think that this is a little bit interesting. Winthrop University, they only found 7 of those first kills, but you know, 13 on the other side. So Thinking that they were doing a really good job at least fragging back, but at the same time, I think the resilience, just the mental fortitude from Winthrop University just carried them through on that last one.
It really did. And I think, you know, if we see Thinking Men continue to get these opening picks really consistently, they'll have a great time too in future maps. But again, they have to make sure they have that follow-up. Just because you're in a 5v4 doesn't mean all the strats are loose. You have to keep yourself together to make sure there's no tradability. You have to make sure there's no time to leverage that against you. Ultimates, utility, whatever you name it, can be there. And we highlighted Paint going into that last map, how amazing mechanically he's been in the past and other qualifiers. Brings it back again. MVP looked so good and such a high ACS to follow up.
I mean, at the same time, too, you know, that kind of Paint reformed duo, that was kind of looking really good between the two of them. Like, it almost felt a little bit like a buddy cop movie. If one goes down, the other one's just ready for the swing right after.
No, that's a good one. I like that. But I mean, it's completely true, too. You need to have that buddy system in place. And we saw a lot of that in our previous series today, too, where there was a 3-stack at times and 2 other anchors, defensively speaking, that would go and hunt down players and find that information. I can't imagine that's going to change. Reformed and Paint, they're not going to slip away from that buddy system. We're probably going to see 2 groups of 2 and 1 solo anchor when it comes to either side that they play on this next map, because there's so much space you need to take and deny at the same time.
Yeah, and well, let's reset the stage here just so everyone's aware of what the stakes are, because Winthrop University now facing 1 map before they land their position into Challengers, which would be unprecedented. I don't think any collegiate team has made it in previously. Never. They could be the first. Well, Thinking Men, this is their next map. They decided to come to Lotus for a reason, and we're expecting to see just a little bit more come out from that squad. And hopefully they can force out that map number 3 split, because Okay, at this point, there can only be one.
That's right. The final qualification team through the lower bracket. We've had all of our others. This is the final one. That's not to say it's all done just yet. We still have another qualifier in just a little while later this month. But this time around, for this special event, all condensed, you want to be the team that barely squeaked your way through. But enough about that. Let's go look at the game itself. We're heading over to Lotus. What do the agents look like? Are we going to be seeing more interesting choices like that Yoru, like that Reyna? No, we have a mirror top. Now, what's interesting about this, though, is that we see both these teams playing ultra safety, double sky. I mean, we've seen other Lotus matches before, the Gecko, the Fade, what have you. But this time, both these teams have to really consider how the flashes are conducted. Do you want to use them early game? Find that early execution value, early information? Or are you planning on saving those flashes for post-plan? And that's going to mean the early game so much tougher for yourself to take that space. You have to really choose now where you find information.
And on top of that too, I mean, you talked about it a little bit, but that Gecko, I'm going to be honest, I still think that Gecko is pretty good given the nerfs that we have seen to Sky. But if you just want to play comfortable, play safe, especially at this level, I think that Sky is still a pretty darn good pick. Of course, we are going to be seeing dual omens as well kind of coming in here. And when it comes to just that flex smoke, because a lot of people play this double controller composition, I actually think I prefer the omen on this map because, you know, the shadow step allows for just a little bit more mobility into some of those trickier angles, which Lotus is full of.
See, I don't know. Normally, I'm a big Omen enjoyer. I feel like this map is a little too big and it really promotes the Astra values. But again, you know, if you're not planning on over-rotating a lot and using these smokes purely for either locking out very specific lines of sight or just taking a sight back and saving it for the later rounds, then sure, I don't think it's a bad play. But the big strength of what we had seen earlier with the Fade, the Raze, and the Astra was just the trap-style plays that weren't really utilized. If that's not the plan for either one of these teams, that's fine. Play for the quick smokes, play for the fact that they're regenerative and that you could use them quite a bit during these rounds. But as we get started here, already B-side under lock for these defenders. Look at Baby Door. If that gets broken up, we're looking at a squad of 4 instantly from Winthrop side to take over Rebel.
And it comes down to this. Winthrop potentially ready to claim their spot. Just need to be able to win out this map. Thinking Men ready to force out that map number 3. And also, too, getting themselves set up onto that C side to put a little bit more pressure there. A little bit unconventional. Most teams run A.
This is a good call, though, from Thinking Men. Really thinking through how to change things up. Early information gained, though. Jerk discovered. Backing away. Smoke in return. It's a good coverage. Will that stop Thinking Men, though? They may just reset, wait out the smoke, and then execute. Look how dialed back everybody is. Relying on Anderson to be the bait as that orb is gathered.
Nice and slow right now. Utility ready to go on a moment's notice. It's going to be the dog in first. Paint shells get tossed to the back. All the smoke's going to be dropped. Mollies are going to be activated. Not a single soul because Jerk ready for it. Double right click, double kill. Gucci though on the back line there. Jerk tries to make it work again, but at least has a little bit of support from other teammates in the back. Lear now the last person left standing inside of the smoke. That's going to be it, and Winthrop University find the pistol yet again.
What a collapse, and what a way of not over-rotating either. Thinking Men, they played that first round very slowly in the early game. They waited out the smoke. They thought for sure that maybe Winthrop would want them to rotate over to a different site. Not quite the case. Thinking Men, though, they tried to get onto site. It didn't quite work out, but now they know where the initial anchor point can be for the defense. Jerk held it down so well. And it really makes me wonder, okay, are we going to see this Killjoy swap sites every so often? Or are they going to pick a definitive anchor point and wait until that doesn't work anymore, then adapt around it?
If I'm Winthrop University here, I actually think you don't reinvent the wheel. If it continues to work out, that's fine. You can yield around, especially too if you get some of these opening ones. But once that starts to fall apart, that's when we want to see a little bit more variety in how they set up their defense. Just having a little bit of a technical pause here just after round number 1. But you know what? Those classic right clicks, I swear they got nerfed.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can nerf them all you want through the Viper Wall. No one ever expects that coming. The going to your point again, having that anchor for C-site for Jerk is really good, but we saw the contingency plan in case there was the rotate. You have the small door possibly open once A-site's been discovered. You have a stack of 4 just waiting to collapse, but if that doesn't happen, you still have 2 defenders on B to hold down the line before the pinch. It looks like now we're out of our pause. We get to wait and see what the redemption could be for Thinking Men into this round and what the plan is this time. Keep an eye on Vix. They're going to be the one to notice in the audio cues of rotations and play the late round lurk. Aggression. Gucci looking for that info, keeping as many attackers as they can, waiting out for C-site.
Still Thinking Men, they're able to scoop up that ultimate orb. They've been more or less just funneling it towards Paint as well. Trying to get the showstopper closer to being online. This Jerk holding nice and close. A little bit of stray pistol bullets going through here. Anderson now ready with utility in hand, but smoke goes up and actually disengagement from Thinking Men.
Oh, a little bit of damage too.
Poison's on.
Have to wait and see though. Utility whittled away. Paint still has their nade. Oh, Loops pressured out here. If you can take B-side control, that'll be huge. Even though you have that weapon deficit, it's close quarters. You can use your pistol still there to maybe gain some weapons back.
Jerk still on this other side here. Is at least able to drop the spike immediately too. The snake bite goes down. Jerk not quite done yet. Sprays it down, but fortunately, Stinger's not going to get you that much value. Thinking Men once again disengage off this one, as now they're going to try to move over to this A site. Nacy hanging out in this little bit of a tricky spot though. Tosses down one. Oh no, 2 headshots right off the bat. Looking for the third as Infiltrator scoops up the last. And it's over as soon as it started. Winthrop University find their second round.
I gotta see a replay on that. It really looked like Nacy's first bullet from the Bulldog split in half and got a double headshot. Bending the laws of physics itself, that was so impressive. And look, if there's anyone you want to have being that anchoring defender, it's Nacy. Every series that we've seen so far in the qualifiers on stream with them, they have played the same exact role and they do it so well. The patience, the timing, just like the Zippo replay, goes to show that you're never safe for those over rotations. Thinking Men will always have pressure applied to them. Oh man,
a lot of pressure.
talk about pressure.
Hey, going through already, looking for it, able to find 2. Opening things up in the bloody brawl outside of A. Still though, there is a little bit of a lurking omen just in the side there. Nacy ready for it just in case they go. Yeah, the Trailblazer gets that information. Paint going for the swing. Vix ready for the trade there. As Gucci still left here. Toss out the paint shells as Reform moves in, able to find Jerk. And immediately it's just this dismantling of the defense. Thinking Men ready for it. They get their first round.
Perfectly good, and only 1 body lost in the process. Nothing for Thinking Men. They can reinvest into that Vandal. Really, really good lure coming out from Reformed. All the while there's this big brawl coming out from A site. It was up to him to just lurk through B site. Luckily enough to take down Jerk, removes the Sentinel util, and gain full B site control. That is what's going to be the tempo setting of each and one of these attacking rounds. Making sure, again, consistent pressure with Nacy. Over on the flip side for these attackers, you want to make sure you're not all huddled together. You want to have that space creation in case your OG site doesn't work out. Early flash doesn't find much. It's blocked off by the smoke. Look at that push-up, though. These rifles are so valuable for Winthrop, they have to keep them alive.
Whoa! Oh. Wow, actually wallbang for Anderson. Able to find Jerk there. Never know what's going to happen. Now the engagement going to be underway. Paint shells tossed in the back. Paint immediately just flying in. Gucci under a lot of pressure here. Drops down the stake pipe. Oh, Paint doesn't care, but gets punished as a result of it. Gucci, good for yet another. Going around this corner, but it's a little bit too much pressure. They're able to find that kill as Thinking Men. They decide to back out here, but Infiltrator watching for that one. It's trades left, right, and center. And suddenly it blows down to just a 1v1, but the Odin's got more bullets to spare. Winthrop University find their third.
I love the Odin defense strat. It's something that we got to see for the longest time when it came to challenges. We didn't get to see too much of it in the off-season and going into the VCL qualifiers. Having a Odin on the defense turns this entire map into papier-mâché. Even post-rework that makes things more defender-sided, it can be such a great leverage tool. Look at Moves' position, hiding inside a tree. Expectation this time, Thinking Men could be pushing in the A site and looking for the fast execution, should be shut down by the gigantic Odin. Not quite the case this time though. Default set instead by Thinking Men. C-site didn't work for the fast push. A-site is always a big battle in the beginning. B-Side's full push play hasn't been appeared just yet. That's going to put all the pressure on Nacy, the magical wonder guard defender of Winthrop so far these qualifiers. Oh, they back away and bait out the utility marks.
They used a swarm grenade to get rid of the turret. I don't think I've ever seen that one done before, but guess it just clears out that information, yeah.
And I mean, you also have a Viper too, so you don't have to really necessarily worry about post-plant utility. Showstopper, paint nades, you have a lot to defend in the post-plant against defenders.
Trailblazer, scouting out areas. Matter of fact, both teams do that, but meanwhile, Paint taking space onto this beast. Sight here, Jerk in back line. Completely goes unnoticed, and finds one smoke as well.
That's two.
Oh, look at this. It's a little bit messy onto the site. Doesn't matter though, Winthrop able to come out on top of it. Spike's still not down. A lot of utility being knocked in, and actually the call for rotation happens.
30 seconds
before
left.
moving in. Infiltrator just on his backside, spots it out, able to find one, realizes where the last one is. Paint Shell's back online here. Oh, uses the satchel pack to get away. Not able to, okay, I was about to say, throws the satchel pack across the board, but Lear unfortunately doesn't find the kill, and so kind of works out in their favor. Winthrop, they find their fourth.
I mean, the big win condition for Thinking Men on Breeze was that body system. Reformed and Paint, the dynamic duo, going through, finding those opening picks. That's why we saw in the post game so many opening picks going in each team's favor, but man, it's being brought against them this time around. The timing off of Jerk, that's 2 rounds now. We're through a smoke. Jerk gets one, and then completely invisible on the other side, sprays through and gets the timing on a second. The buddy system for Thinking Men may need to be parsed out a little bit more. One-way setup, Gucci still waiting. The spray through with these phantoms, no tracers on the other side. That means you can spray through and remain somewhat invisible for these attackers. It's the belly of the beast though. The alarm
Keep
bot
in mind
setup.
too, Thinking Men, they're so close to getting so many of their ultimates online. This is just a little bit of an eco round, but the fact that they're one ultimate orb away from multiple says a lot. The satchel goes in, and yeah, it's actually just a fake.
Teasing us. Look at this utility whittled away. Gucci uses one snake bite, that's super valuable. Infiltrator's got that showstopper, and so does Paint.
Reform now has the lockdown online. Infiltrator can't quite secure the kill there. The Paint Shells did a little bit of damage, but not enough to get Vix out, and now Thinking Men can more or less regroup. They're just on the other side, able to clear out Jerk. Gets that as well, and suddenly it's an ultimate palooza for Thinking Men.
Yeah, but if you're Winthrop, you want those ults to be used this round. Bait out the lockdown. Get those showstoppers ready. Lear already used one. That's your 2 ults. On a thrifty round, no less.
I can't believe that. Gucci, blinded, just tries to jump off and actually gets caught by the showstopper explosion as a result. And now, Reform just watching it back here. Nicey. A little bit of a difficult one to be able to try and win this one out, but able to do so. Now finds yet another headshot. And still, it's a 1v3 scenario, not impossible.
High-low.
At this point, Thinking Men, they have to be able to win this one. They've invested too heavily in here. And yeah, High-low gonna work it out every single day of the week. Thinking Men, they get their next round, and it's a thrifty one at that.
Yeah, at least the ultimates used by Thinking Men weren't the most necessary for post plans or impactful for rounds in the world. Sure, you lose out on information with Lear Seekers being gone and Paint can't use a showstopper for a while. Reformed keeping that lockdown alive is so important for these future rounds. And so now it needs to prove itself. There is the showstopper so from Infiltrator, a great anti-execution tool. Keep an eye on those attacker pings. This could be a crossfire play between B and C. That'll be gigantic. Early information's gained. One less flash to worry about now on the execute if you're Winthrop. Same exact setup too. No changes.
Just creeping forwards right now. Oh no, Gucci takes a little bit of damage just with that spray through. Now the lockdown gets invested. The question is, do they decide to engage off of this when all the Killjoy utility is going to get utilized here? So look at this, Vix just on the back line, ready for that. Nice he didn't even see it coming. And yeah, they just move in off this one detained, and that should be the spike going down.
Beautiful bait there. The space created by the lockdown. The rotation started from Winthrop after the lurking kill. Thought it was going to be the B-side execute fake, but instead the fake was a fake itself.
Funny how that works out. A paranoia gets tossed out. Yeah, Infiltrator are going to be going down, caught in the crossfire at Waterfall. And now they're going to trickle in one by one, but Anderson double dipping. Peeks out yet again, able to find Jerk. So there's 21 bullets left for it as actually the call is made. Winthrop, they decide to disengage off this one, keep their rifles into the next one. Thinking Men, they're picking up their momentum.
Yeah, this is huge. Now going for these baited plays themselves, waiting for the lurks to find the opening pick, and then engaging away from that has been good for Winthrop to overextend. Those baited plays have been a death sentence for Winthrop up until now in the qualifiers, and if they keep falling for it again, this could be an even game. Winthrop, though, they have a time to go for a timeout fairly early on, and yeah, it's early, but if this is the case and Thinking Men start to string together these rounds, I think it's desperately needed to keep this map advantage alive.
Yep, 100%. I mean, this is their map. They're hoping that they don't end their tournament lives here. They're hoping that they don't squander that spot to Challengers. And this is how you want to do it. They've now picked up 2 rounds in a row. This is the first time that we're seeing Winthrop kind of in the back foot economy-wise. And well, let's see how Thinking Men want to just pounce on this opportunity.
Yeah, and look at the buys too. 2 Vandals, Sheriffs, and a Stinger to work off of here. Lot of information, a lot of utility dumped from Thinking Men so early on. Look at the crossfire potential that was set up between B and C. Rotations been called, and giving up C site is an interesting play. And you might be thinking, well, why are they doing that? Lockdown, and potentially soon Seekers if they can get to the orb or find kills in time. So much post-plant ultimate utility that Winthrop has, where they can safely group up on one site and play retakes on the other.
But look at this. It feels like a big brain move on both of their ends.
Yeah.
Winthrop
like
immediately
clockwork.
rotated, and then the Thinking Men just backed off the sea as well.
No way! Opening the door to bait out the utility and the presence of A-Site. Winthrop are falling for a hook, line, and sinker.
Are they, though?
Yes! They have the lockdown, sure, but look at all this space, and Thinking Men, once that nanoswarm goes down, they can scale beyond that smoke and find so much anti-rotate presence. It's not the paint.
Hanging out inside of here. Oh, Trailblazer gets utilized here, so this forces the hand. Paint good for 1, paint good for 2. Looking for that 3rd, goes up and around, and no! Spots it out. Doesn't matter, Gucci able to find it. But it's all good. At this point, the damage has been done. Still down to a 2v2, actually. Sorry, I take it back.
Double ult.
Just like that. They're going to try and make sure that they can secure this round. The defenders want to make sure that they can kind of get this. And yeah, there's nothing you can do if you are oh no. Gucci gets caught in the middle of it, and suddenly this gets a lot more difficult. At this point, Jerk just has to kind of stick it through, and Vix goes for the swing, and Thinking Men, they win it out. A little bit of a misplay there, Keg.
Oh, call me Craig right now, because that was not great from Winthrop. Using the lockdown, using the Viper's Pit, bringing things to an even game. You already had insufficient weaponry compared to Thinking Men. They went fully for it, and it didn't work. And now what do you have for the rest of these rounds? There aren't too many left. Are you really going to have that many rounds to get Gucci's ult back or even the lockdown? No. You have to fight gunfire with gunfire again, and that's going to make Thinking Men's job on A-Site a whole lot easier. Big change now. Jerk setting up for A-Site. Full expectations that now those ults are gone. It has to be an A-Site execute. Rotate values. The flank already begun. It's up to Reform to get this opening pick, but no. Off the minimap, the timing's not there. It's a full stack for Thinking Men on A-Site.
And they're just kind of running it down. Nothing to be found here. Door wide open. Site ready to be planted on. And now Pink can go into the back as well. 2 away from getting that showstopper online. As Winthrop, they get themselves ready to go.
Seekers are available for moves. That's huge info.
Yeah, paint shells get tossed in. Response paint shells gonna get tossed in as well. A lot of information given. Vix at least able to take out Infiltrator, but moves, trades one back. Nessie gonna get one as well. Viper's Pick gonna get deployed this time around. And in the middle of it all, this is gonna be Winthrop with the numbers advantage. Just biding their time on how they want to be able to move things forward. Goes through the flash, Reform able to find one. Oh, running out of bullets, but it doesn't matter. An excellent swap to the Classic. Down to this 2v2 scenario yet again. Jerk has to take this swing just around the corner, but the Viper's Pit drops their HP so low, so the Classic right click will do just fine. Thinking Men, they take the lead and they're able to scoop up the op 2.
We need one of those stats magicians to tell us how many right click kill Classics there have been in this matchup. What is that?
Actually.
5? I think I'm on the lower end of that. I'm 4 at minimum, at least. Winthrop going for that tack timeout. Yeah, desperately needed. 4 rounds in a row in Thinking Men's favor, and a lot of it has just been big brain macro plays to stop them. And I keep harkening back to it, but we've seen this a lot with Winthrop. The best way to beat them out has been to go for those baited plays. They love to over-rotate. And you would think after being knocked out of the upper bracket in their other qualification game, Winthrop would clean that up here. They have time to fix it, though. They have that map buffer, Marks. But again, you don't want to waste that advantage. You want to qualify now, and you're so close to it.
100%. And honestly, too, okay, it's kind of funny because on some of those rounds, it almost looked like they were running like football drills or something. Do this formation, do this formation. Just both of the teams running around until eventually they get settled once they read what their opponent's doing. It's just kind of back and forth between them. They're both trying to outsmart each other so much.
Yeah, no, I think you're completely right, too. It's like clockwork between both teams. Just being able to rotate, maneuver, rotate, maneuver, rotate. That's all you really need to do. The lurking presence from Vix as well has been gigantic, ensuring this is good. There we go. Oh. Early off shot's huge. That's a seaside execute. That's all you need.
Is it though? Because at the same time, Moob's still in the back there. Gonna have that guiding light in hand, ready to go, potentially a swing.
With just a stinger?
There it is, and actually Paranoia comes out as well from the gate. Anderson good for one. Lear cleans out the other side, but Infiltrator at least able to drop one down, making it a little bit okay, but at the same time, they did lose 3. And now the call is being made. Oh, Jerk in an excellent position right now to catch someone off guard. Will do just that.
I'm surprised they rotated over to A side. They had the info down.
Oh, Jerk, good for yet another. Has to reload that stinger though. Not a lot of bullets in the chamber. Lear able to trade that one out. It's now a 1v2 though. The Seeker's gonna get activated, and yeah, Reform just swings off of that. Look up here. I am shooting you down. And just like that, Thinking Men, they find their 6th round.
I love the collaboration that we had seen outside of C-Name and B once more. We've seen that a variety of different rounds, but this time having Anderson go for that Paranoia was so... Sorry, the other Omen going for the Paranoia was such an icing moment on the gate. That's exactly what you need. And that rotation over to A-Site was a little at first, but I'm glad it worked out well. Reformed on the operator. And again, we don't see an opping KJ2 too often outside of, say, Riku from yesterday. Has worked out beneficially so far.
I'm starting to be convinced that maybe we're just going to see more Killjoy opping. That seems to be where the meta's going based off the start of it.
You know, there was a player a long time ago that would KJ op. A long, long time ago. He used to be on 100 Thieves, you know.
Who was it?
I don't know, but I heard he was a metallic guy. You know, balls of steel at times, but I mean, unbelievably well. Maybe way too ahead of their time, but Thinking Men, they have that advantage. They can't squander it now themselves. They have a lot more legroom to go up from. They have to ensure that they can at least even up the maps and bring things to map 3. That is far easier said than done.
I mean, also, too, there's still 2 more rounds left here for Winthrop. Potentially tie it out 6-6. But of course, once the sides swap around, then we go again. We get to see these 2 squads face each other, bashing their heads against each other.
I mean, this is always tricky, right? Because, you know, if you have teams with different agents, you can say, this is more defender-sided, this is more attacker-sided. Identical team comps, it's down to the play styles. You have to perform. And look at all that utility dumped out so early with nothing to show for it. It's the crawl back over to C.
Yeah, but on top of that, too, a lot of information gained outside of A, but like you said, it is going to be the C execute Trailblazer coming in first. Immediately, the snakebite gets utilized. No engagement just quite yet, but the showstopper gets popped. And now Pink going in, and yeah, Gucci can't see a thing, and okay, Thinking that they just kind of back out.
Look at Moobs, though. Hiding so far into that smoke, waiting for the rotate execute. This is what Thinking Men have done so many rounds now. Put that pressure on C. Don't go for the execute. They've always been played around with on that choke. And so they crawl back over to A site. Moobs is hiding. Playing the role as Nacy from earlier. A flash 2 to work with could be the spray of the century. No longer a stinger. This time it's a phantom. And this could be a mowdown. Never mind.
Nope, actually, Moobs just got mowed down. That's a little bit unfortunate there, but enough healing ready to go. Thinking
30
Men,
seconds left.
All of their squads still alive. A site nice and ripe for the taking, so this should be an easy plan.
Yeah, and there's no ultimates on Winthrop's side to counter this either. Body advantage 2, Reform holding the back lines of the NOP. You couldn't ask for anything better. Wow, 2 in a row.
Okay, and also 2 through the box, able to find Lear as well. Nacy not done quite yet. Through a wall, able to find one. Fix as well. Suddenly, Nacy's made this entirely possible. Anderson now in a 1v3. Oh, Initiator just on the other side. Too many bullets coming in from too many different directions. And the Spike continuously just getting touched. Yeah, they're just going to kind of swing in and take him out. And just like that, Winthrop, they're not out of this one yet. They find their 5th, 1 round separating these teams.
The slow encroachment. Now thinking men had to be on that back heel again and really think about their adaptations. Winthrop are recognizing, okay, early C-side pressure. Not really a lurk, and if there is, it's outside of A. This looks like it's the call. No, never mind. I thought it was called for the timeout from Thinking Men's end, but that's not the case. Instead now, the mechanisms are there. Winthrop having that mid-round A-site pressure, good for at least 1. To have that hobbling back over to A-site. We have to see Thinking Men change up the pace. They can't keep pressuring C like they do early rounds. Something new needs to happen here.
Will that be the case? Oh, dueling operators. Dueling killjoys too. Okay, but nothing going to be found just quite off the bat there. Jerk forced to back up.
Early flash came out. Still plenty of utility here to work with. Gucci has that snake bites prepped up and ready. If anyone approaches Mal, that'll be Jerk ready with the op.
Here.
There's really nowhere you could go to your right. You have to hold on to this wall and scale your way in. But there's no blind spot.
Oh, the bait finds it. Just gets enough information, and that's going to be enough. Now Paint already in onto site. Gucci gets paranoid as well, and yeah, that's going to be C seized for this team. Thinking Men will be able to get that spike down now. Infiltrator coming around the side here. Paint going to go for the challenge, but immediately backs off. It's going to be the showstopper, ready to go. Shot down. Paint going to be caught in the explosion there. Infiltrator not quite done yet. Moves in, shuts down the operator, but gets caught out with paint shells in hand, and suddenly it's all up to Nacy in this 1v2, making a 1v1 just around the pillar here. 17 bullets left. Lear just on the other side. The drop is going to be heard out as Lear goes all the way up and around. AC knife out now, looking for this opportunity. Doesn't know where this agent is. They've completely swapped around, but Lear just a little bit faster to the draw, and that's going to make sure that Thinking Men, they will find that 7-5 half.
When I talk about adaptations, that's exactly what I wanted to see out of Thinking Men. Was it the C-side execute into a rotate on A-site? No. Look at this play. The dynamic duo, reformed in paint, the baited jump peek, then make reform scoot out a little bit, then look for mound, and then the strafe in with the operator unlock the entirety of C-side for Thinking Men. Something they struggled to do for the entire half. Broken up now and having that lead back into the second half. Now Winthrop, they have the chance to set the tempo now. They can't fall for fakes anymore. Now a lot of the time when Winthrop had fallen on their attacking side, it was due to 2 initiators. Not the case this time. There's only 1 initiator. Less info gathering for Winthrop to have against them. Spikes down. Not picked up immediately. I like this safety flash from Lear. That'll be the double swing from the 2 remains on outside C main.
Oh, and it's so good, but actually not going to be good enough. They immediately fire back. Suppressing fire will be more than enough, and Paint caught in the middle of all of that. And yeah, that's going to be a yielded C site, at least for the time being, as Winthrop, they walk out successful.
Talk about a walkout.
Okay, they go back a bit more, but Infiltrator gets one. Henderson with a collat, but Moobs is able to at least trade that one back. They ain't quite done just yet. Lear has to back out of there. Numbers simply not favoring that, but fortunately, Moobs is going to be the one who took the most amount of damage, and unfortunately, the overgrowth does not work on yourself.
Great reset right now from Winthrop. Making Thinking Men think this is a rotate, but the gunfire comes through. Trying to be fancy with it on the other side of B door. But it's all an extra part of the plan. The reset, the rehit, the information, not knowing if any defender's still on C. Those gunshots, faking out the rotation, faking, yeah, again, they go back into C. This isn't even indecisiveness. This is planned. 23 seconds left, waiting out that timer, forcing these 2 pistol wielders to really consider where they want to place themselves. Divide and conquer. Lear and Reform so far away from each other too, they'll have to corral at some
10
point.
seconds left.
But with that 1 extra attacker, you could scale up.
Spike goes down. 2v3 now. No more sky flashes available, and that ain't regenning anymore.
Nope.
At least a Trailblazer still in hand here. They're going to attempt it. I mean, it is pistol round, so you might as well. But this is going to be tough. The positioning from Winthrop should be elite to shut this one down. Reformed going to be taking point first. Gucci hanging out onto the site. Won't be able to get that first pick. Gucci gets a couple of bullets in. Jerk gets that kill, but Lear goes for the pistol swap. It's running out of time here as Gucci actually goes up, but Jerk finds that last pick as well. Winthrop pick up the pistol round yet again onto this attack side. And there's only one round separating these teams.
That might be the most coordinated round I've seen from Winthrop in the qualifiers. That is exactly what you want to see for a team that wants to go to the VCL. Really playing around with the map, ensuring that everybody on the defense, no matter how many are left alive, need to stay on their toes. Viper wall comes down on A. That's soon to be the conditioning wall. A stack up on C again. Thinking men do not want that same outcome to happen once more, but there will be that presence from Jerk. Jerk's gonna try to sell this play towards C site. All the while, a big sneak through on A site.
Ooh.
Me too. I can feel the nerves.
Cautious.
The heartbeat's beating now. As you mentioned, it's a 1 round difference between the two. Winthrop can use these attacking rounds to their advantage. They're already map up. They can gain that lead. That can be the snowball that they need to bring themselves to qualify for VCL.
Trailblazer doesn't get any information, and at this point, Thinking Men a little bit suspicious on what's going on. They've moved out of C, they pushed out of B, and now they know.
Oh, they're
it's actually
pushing
an
up.
A-side hit, but look at this. Yeah, Winthrop, they're going right into their home. Ooh, such good awareness going on. We dropping the smoke back off, and now the spike should be able to go down.
Great information gathering. Heaven's still uncontested. Smokes go down. Site control. Backing away, too.
Oh. Brutal Gucci. Does find 2 there. Toss down the mollies just for good measure. Have somebody watching as well. Jerk for that little bit of a door. Soon as it goes down here, but Thinking Men, they're going to regroup and try and push out all collectively.
Oh, Marks. Loops on so valuable info. Flash went off on Heaven, but there was nobody there. That means no one in the most popular place you can flood down on site found any sort of impact or information. They can't be there. And look at this little meeting. Typical Thinking Men boardroom meeting, just waiting for the spike to go off.
Oh, are they gonna... Yeah, okay. No, this actually kind of makes sense, Keg. If you think about it, if they all get caught in this explosion, they don't yield any ultimate orbs to the other team.
That's right.
But they make sure that they can get all of the ones for themselves.
And you know, if you're a little bit newer to Valorant 2, it doesn't add a death counter to your KD either, so it's not bad. All it does is remove your weapons. And you do get that lost death bonus too, which helps out a lot here for these upcoming rounds. 7-7 though. This is where we get into serious territory. So far, Winthrop have been so good about sneakily getting onto a site and taking a lot of space control. Thinking Men cannot allow that to happen. Okay, that was a cool replay.
Enjoyed that one. Also, too, I like the fact that you're highlighting KD as being the most important thing.
I mean,
for these players.
Come on. We know what Valorant is. KD's everything.
Speaking of Valorant, a lot of that's being played right now. It's so aggressive. Anderson able to find 2. Pate goes up, able to find yet another. Gets shut down though. Gucci doing an excellent job at least anchoring for a second, but it's all but over. Jerk, last person left standing from Winthrop. Also, too, I want to highlight this was a little bit of an investment from Winthrop. They thought if they got some rifles, they might be able to surprise Thinking Men. Not the case this round.
No, absolutely not. But Jerk getting some theatrics in this map in the last 2. Parsed out 1v3. All isolated. There's a chance that Jerk can take 1 by 1 and get this round win.
Ooh, Jerk finds a headshot there. Jerk good for another. Are you kidding me? Now down to a 1v1 Killjoy duel. Reformed up against Jerk. Both of them having Vandals in hand.
And look at the space that Thinking Men needs to cover right now. I can only imagine what the comms are like for the defense. So much information. It has to be a lucky guess for that turret to trip. And it will. That's all Reform needs.
30 seconds left.
Oh, Jerk. Looking for it. Is able to actually toss down the turret himself. Goes for the fake plan and actually wins out that duel. Jerk single-handedly saved Winthrop in that round. And just like that, Winthrop now back into the lead.
Thinking Men, we talked about their body system so much. And the one round they don't do it, they're ISO'd one by one. And not even the ISO you're thinking of, it might as well be if you're playing as Jerk. Jerk's now Killjoy. 3 rounds in a row for Winthrop. The eco is not looking great here. Stingers and 3 sheriffs in tow. Anderson does have From the Shadows. That could be a great info gathering tool, and even for a flank. If there's a round to do it, you might as well here to try to get that leverage to 8 and 8. Old Cycling's looking good. Jerk will try to grab that C orb to get... Wait. Gucci? Gucci? It's an ambush!
It actually wins that. That's unbelievable. Drops down the Snakebite as well.
Okay.
There goes, but at least trades it back. Finding 2. That's more than you could have asked for. And now the engagement underway for Winthrop. Immediately just flying through the air. Spots out Reformed in the back here. Has at least one more blast back. Has to just get this kill, but actually Reformed gets it. Thankfully moves ready for the trade. Now Nacy will be able to get the spike down. 3v2 here. Thinking Men coming back in shortly.
Smoke is down from Anderson. This is good. He can fake TP with his Shrouded Steps.
Okay, turret goes down as well. Nacy spots out Anderson. Anderson actually able to win that out, but Jerk good for the trade off of it. But this boy Vic's just too far away. He does have this Phantom in hand. Might try to attempt to get something, at least force down the economy a little bit. Oh no, Jerk walks out. Oh, that was about to be terrible from Vix, but able to scoop it up at the last second. And now just has to be able to get this spike. Doesn't know where the last person is.
No
Goes
flashes.
into the corner. Drops down the head, actually. As we are going to be seeing Lear come around. And sorry, Moobs come around. And Moobs finds that kill as Winthrop. They continue to move forwards here. Now 9-7.
Scary moment. Small little thing there from Vix. Played directly into the wall just for anti-flashing. Not aware about how much utility Moobs had left. Small little things like that can really carry you a long ways. But Winthrop have that lead now. They've won 4 rounds in a row on the attack. Thinking Men, they're playing with fire, not going for attack timeout. This is scary. The typical rule of thumb is if you lose 5 in a row, you gotta do something. You gotta stop for a second. They have to win this round if they don't want to go for that. The flash, the paranoia, the massacre potential.
Yeesh. Paint shoots the Trailblazer. Doesn't realize someone went through. Nacy is at least able to get a trade off of that one, but Paint move forwards. It doesn't matter. The numbers are definitely favoring things out right now, but it completely sorts itself out in a weird way of homeostasis. And now, Spike completely left behind, by the way, as Jerk goes for this lockdown plant. But at this point, like, there's so much time afforded, and they're actually going to be pushing this through. Jerk ready for it. Jerk is able to at least get one, but now Reformed is going to be the last person left. Infiltrator now into this 1v1 as Reformed is very damaged.
That lockdown gave just enough time for Infiltrator to pick up that spike. Reset of info, though. Reformed does have a turret to work with.
Oh. Just round the corner, Infiltrator. It's gonna get a couple of bullets off here. Yeah, get rid of that turret. Let's go for the reload, actually. Plenty of time to do that. Reformed a little bit better in this lineup. We'll be able to secure that kill. Thinking Men following Winthrop up just 1 round behind.
This is a scary one. Just when you think Winthrop might be able to take it home, Thinking Men, they have something up their sleeves. What is the call for this next round? Thinking Men have achieved their first on their defensive side. Luckily for them, they're only down by 1 round. Changes need to be made by Winthrop. Their slow approaches have worked pretty well up until this point, but the direct fights haven't necessarily gone in their favor early round. Waiting out the clock has. Look at that stack up towards C. The aggressive pings when the attackers are already down. Lockdown was used last round. Thinking Men don't have to worry about that. They can play much more aggressive on C. Baited shots. The slow crawl back to A side again. Keep an eye on that alarm bot. Even if Reformed isn't directly on A site, it would still go off. He's in within range. Keep an eye on the ults too. Lear with the info. Anderson with the flank potential. Reformed, just 1 kill. Will activate that lockdown.
Here we go, Seekers. One moves first. Be moving in. Viper's Pick gonna get deployed. Set that tent up, make it a little bit easier for yourself to plant. Moves will now get that spike down as it's gonna be 5v5 on this retake, Keg.
Absolutely. Full information. The Seekers into that Viper's Pit will be so valuable. Now you have the big leverage. No one can see anything except for those Seekers.
Ooh, Showstopper gonna be activated here. Paint looking for the Hail Mary, can't quite find it. Drops down actually, but gets taken out. It's gonna be an absolute brawl happening onto this point. Paint now dropping down the bot. Get a little bit of information. Moves walking out, actually able to catch someone off, but actually the hero is Nacy in the back from Tree. Everyone too focused on the Viper's Pit, lining themselves up, and that Vanda will spray down. Winthrop hit double digits.
Beautiful work from Winthrop. Now only 3 rounds away from being the last team in OQ1 to qualify. These qualifiers have been a long grind for so many different teams. And when you're that close to winning, that's when the biggest mistakes can come out. Nerves of steel for these 5. Need to make an appearance, and they already have. The confidence from yesterday has completely, well, I should say the lack of confidence has completely dissuaded away. Now they're looking more comfortable than ever. Full rifles, though. This is dangerous from thinking men. It's tough to say. They're taking these early fights. But all the while, though, Marks, if you have pistols versus Vandals like this, you're probably looking 8 to 11 against you. Not a lot of wiggle room.
No, especially too when you lose Paint. With a little bit of a wall bang there. Flirting with disaster does get punished. And now you can see Winthrop University, they're poking up a little bit, but haven't really made up their minds. Slowly now creeping up on A.
And they have plenty of time to change course too. Smokes are down, Viper Wall on top, plenty of info, and even a paranoia to isolate out any part of these sites. And yet there's been nothing. The door is open now. A flash is just about ready, but the Boombot might stop it.
Whoa, Boombot goes in, and that's actually going to be great moves. Finding 2 kills there. Anderson playing around this wall, but Gucci secures that kill, and suddenly it's not looking good. Vic's up against 5. He has this Sheriff in hand, gets spotted out, and Infiltrator finds it. A flawless round for Winthrop to get themselves to 11, and you know they've got their eyes on the prize.
Yup. This is the most important round in this series for Thinking Men. If they lose out on this full buy, they're going to have an incredibly broken buy into what could very well be their final round in Open Qualifiers. They need to win this round. The lockdown from Reform needs to be everything here, and they cannot over-rotate. They cannot take an early fight. They can't lose any bodies at all. Oh, I love that song.
It's pretty good, but okay, a little bit more aggression right off the bat, actually, as we do see Winthrop take a lot of space, immediately scooping up that ultimate orb as well. I think at this point, win condition is just get those ults online.
Yeah, and look how far back everyone on C is playing. They're fully expecting Infiltrator to use that showstopper to entry onto a site. Not quite the case just yet, but who's to say that can't happen on A? That alarm bot. The waiting from Reform with that operator just on the other side of that small door could be something to set off the anti-execute. But Reformed only has an operator. Could easily be traded out with it. In a 1v4 like this.
Reformed. Finding that first pick is going to be absolutely huge.
Got away.
Yeah, Winthrop, though, not ready to give this one up just quite yet. The execution still very much underway. Making their way onto site moves, at least able to find Lear in the backside, and now it is going to be the lockdown getting invested, but actually, they commit to it. They think that they can actually challenge this, or at least they're going to attempt so. Paint and Infiltrator in a very bad position, but lockdown goes down. Moves finds one, Jerk finds another. The showstopper online. Vic's fallen to the ground. Reformed, last person alive, getting chased down by all sorts of Sky utility. Still has this operator in hand, but just gets mowed down by the bullets. Winthrop University, 1 round away from securing their spot in Challengers.
1 round win on this have to from Thinking Men. If there's a round to go for a timeout, it has to be now. Great Zippo replay, especially there, moving just in time. Reformed, had he not moved just a little bit to his right, that would have been a double kill with the showstopper. And no timeouts. They don't need it anymore. They have a plan in motion. Guardians, a Spectre on a long-range map like this, and a Bulldog. This is rough.
Already a lot of utility getting tossed out here. Nacy moving up. Paint, though, able to find 1 kill. An excellent first pick. Finds the second as well. Makes this a lot more winnable for Thinking Men. They've had their backs against the wall before on the last map, and they made pretty good work of it. Paint even able to secure the Phantom as a result. Jerk just around the corner, looking to essentially punish any over-aggression, but the one-way smoke gets reestablished.
That one way might enable someone else to pick up that rifle. Performs on the Jerks on the other side, waiting to see if someone does, but the answer is no. It's not worth it. We have to focus on the objective at hand. Where is that spike carrier now? They've made their way deep in the B and moves is there for 2.
Spike down.
That's
B.
really good. This made this just more winnable for Winthrop. Evening out the numbers, just a 2v3. They are split up, not in a great position, but if Anderson's position gets spotted out here by Jerk, that could be huge. The rifle is spotted. Jerk wins that out. Suddenly down to a 2v2. Let's see this Gucci and find it just like this. This could be over here, Keg.
Vix, what do? You have a Bulldog and 2 snake bites. You can't give up the orb, or you can't grab an orb. You can't use the Viper's Pit here. Now you hear where that spike goes down, Marks. This is scary. This is for all the marbles, quite literally the marble basket.
2 snake bites still available. Vix has to clutch up. The most important moment right now for Thinking Men. Of course, to a swarm grenade onto the site. Doesn't actually decide to take that one down, but Gucci good for the swing, and just like that, Winthrop University qualify for Challengers.
We have had so many firsts in the first Open Qualifiers here for VCL. A collegiate team, co-ed teams, plenty of new faces coming through that have grinded, not even just last year, not even just the off-season, but since the beginning of this game coming out. Names re-emerging, new faces, all blending together. And what I have to say, and granted there's another Open Quals that we have to think about too, the most competitive VCL season I think we've had ever.
I know, it's honestly been such a wild ride throughout this entire tournament, but big congratulations to Winthrop University. Just like you said, so many talented people coming in, trying to make a claim here, but only for able to secure their spot. But man, okay, just take a look at this last map. Such exciting plays coming in from both of those sides, but Winthrop University just turning it up to another level on that second half.
Absolutely, Winthrop again, they cleaned up all their major mistakes from the past in Open Qualifiers, and they're going to continue to sharpen their claws going into the VCL. That's what we need. Notice how all the teams that qualify for VCL really have their biggest strength be teamwork. Teamwork literally makes the dream work here. Gunplay is great. You can use all the utility in the world, but as long as you're friends and as long as you can stick together and go for those trades, you have a great chance of making it to VCL.
And just down to the wire like that, I mean, such good play, and honestly, too, Winthrop University, it's so good coming out from them. 10 of the first kills there, but all things considered, it just looked phenomenal from them on Lotus.
Absolutely. Again, I mean, the stats this time around were so much closer than we had seen even on Breeze. Breeze was a palindrome before. 7-13, 7 first bloods for one side, 13 for the other, but for the losing teams this time, so even. A single clutch could be the most divisioned factor, but not even really. I mean, this was so close, and especially with a team with both agents all being the same for both. That's exactly what you're looking for.
100%. I mean, I just want to touch on how close some of these rounds were. It seemed like it was going to go one way and then a triple kill would happen. And then at that point, things would just completely swing around into this very evened out 2v2. It felt like we were in that situation fairly often, but look at the MVPs here. Jerk actually taking it all as the Killjoy, the opping Killjoy on Winthrop University.
A 2.0 KD, and saying what you know, going on what we were saying before, having those multi-kills round after round, Jerk had the best one. The odds quite literally up against him. An unwinnable round. 1v1, 1v1, 1v1 to seal the deal. That's the confidence booster that brought Winthrop the victory.
Yeah, and that's not to take away anything from Thinking Men as well. I was extremely impressed with how Paint was able to maneuver around the maps, just using that utility, the Raze utility, just so fantastically. But of course, not able to secure it. They got so close, but just fall short in the last round.
But who's to say they can't qualify the second time around? It's going to be even more ferocious then. And man, but the teams that we've already had from last year coming back in, and of course the Open Qualifier teams, what else is there to say? This is going to be an absolute banger in the making, and we're going to have a whole year's worth of amazing content.
100%. And this is going to close out Open Qualifiers 1.
Yes.
But there are more Open Qualifiers going. At least one more, actually, which is going to be happening from February 12th to February 15th. And that is kind of like our little bit of a last chance qualifier to make your way into Challengers, I believe. Okay, there might only be 2 spots in that one.
Well, sure, there's only 2 spots, and there may only be like one more qualifier, but you can always qualify in our hearts. We've been watching so much amazing gameplay, even for the teams that didn't qualify. They've had a litany of clips and a lot of amazing things that we've seen on social media, and that's not going to stop either. Marks, we have a whole journey ahead of us. We have another Open Qualifier soon, and I can't wait at all.
I also just realized, speaking of hearts, the Open Qualifiers is happening over Valentine's Day, so that's actually going to be kind of funny. Just to see which teams are going to be really dedicated to the grind to make sure that they secure their spot for the Challengers League. But once again, big congratulations to the qualifying teams today. We did get to see, actually, it was Winthrop University be able to win that one and make their way for that final qualification spot. Of course, YFP and SAD did qualify yesterday. So we've got our 4 all locked in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, those are all players and teams that have been grinding since the very beginning. Very well deserved. Having people, new talent, come into the fray. I mean, what's going to happen next, right? Especially over Valentine's Day. I didn't even realize that. I forgot Valentine's Day was a thing. Oh,
you can't forget Valentine's Day, man.
Oh, I can.
All right. Well, that is going to close things out for today. We want to give a big shout out to the production people behind the scenes that have put on this show, as well as our observers, everyone just kind of helping out on the back just to make sure that this can be put together. My name has been Marks. This has been THNK. You got any final words for us before we close the show?
Let's just get straight to Open Qualifiers 2. We'll see you guys then. Have a wonderful time.
All right. Bye, everyone. Have a good night.
Oh, bye.